and they do ban that Anivia. So in this situation, if T1 opt to go for Ryze now, they don't have to deal with Anivia, but there is the potential of Cassiopeia. If they don't, then maybe we end up getting Ryze for DPLUS into the Cassiopeia. Instead, though, looking to go for a bit of a flex pick here with the TF. I think this is a smart pickup on number 4 here. Can go top. We've seen it a good amount. Can also go in the mid lane, so keeping options open and making it a bit harder to predict for T1. It looks like it will just be that Caitlyn paired with the Seraphine. I feel like it was probably that or Jhin. And then mid for Showmaker, you know, you have the options of, I feel like Ryze, Annie, Aurora are kind of the 3 that I think on the forefront.
Yeah. Decent amount of time here being spent on the Caitlyn pick.
You know, I think I probably like Annie the most here, just because you have a lot of powerful ults, but having that setup is a lot of value. Like if you can land the Tibbers, you have so much follow-up afterwards, and so many abilities that having that reliable CC will help out a long way with.
Silas. Definitely something we've seen picked into TF in the past, where you can just steal the Destiny Gate and follow. And he is going to lock that in, but still a chance that TF is in the top lane. And besides the TF ult, I mean, you have Ash Arrow. Crescent Guard's pretty good. Wild Growth can be kind of obnoxious. Looking for the Yorick here.
Okay, so they keep the TF in the mid lane, put the Yorick up to the top lane against the Rumble. A lot of control from T1 in terms of the stun cards, the Ash Arrow. But I feel like
number 1, as we are ready, let's hop onto the Rift. Alrighty, game number 1, as we're getting ready for DK versus T1. And Showmaker already bringing out a pretty interesting pick. You know, nowadays it feels like the mid-meta, you know, you've seen some counter picks with Anivia into Ryze, Cassiopeia into Ryze and stuff like that, but it's been a lot of Annie, a lot of Aurora, Ryze, Azir. So kind of glad that we get something new for this game. Carry going to take a bit of damage here in this trade. Pays kind of canceling an auto there. But very aggressive trading from the T1 bot lane.
yeah, obviously the level 1 of Ashe is really strong, but Seraphine has a lot of poke, so falling low early, especially because you get that power damage when champions are below a certain threshold, is going to make things really difficult. And that's the thing with having the Lulu into Seraphine, you are just going to get out-traded and allow Smash and Korea to have a good amount of pressure here. Notably, Smash does have Cleanse, which is insanely high value in this game, so definitely the take that you want to have, but it does mean not quite as much trading power in the 2v2. You obviously saw Pays use the barrier there, and I think that mitigated a good amount of the trading power of Smash and Korea, and Smash doesn't have that response.
Yeah, we've seen a lot of Yorick into Jace, obviously. That's been kind of the thing where teams, especially early on in the LCK, were like, well, I need to pick Jace because it's safe for a blind pick, and there's not a lot of safe blind picks nowadays. We've learned that kind of Jace, even blind pick, isn't really finding a lot of success, which has led to a lot of us casters kind of not being very happy with the picks, including myself. But the Yorick has been coming out more and more, even not up against the Jace. So kind of interested to see if Doran can pilot it well against the Rumble here. He's been a great Yorick whenever I've seen it.
And we do see Faker with Comet on the TF. I feel like a lot of our TFs are running Spellbook, but we have had Comet changed on the new patch. So before you got like refund on the Comet every time you hit abilities. Now the damage is increased based on the distance it travels. So especially when you get Rapid Fire Cannon, if you land a stun card at max range, you're going to get almost all the benefit of that extra damage amp, and it'll do a good chunk. But even at like max auto range, you're getting like 75% damage increased on the Comet, which is pretty sizable.
Yeah. It's definitely going to be something to look forward to as we move along in this game. So far, not a huge amount of action, but Lucid is coming in here, trying to get aggressive, but Owner was hiding on Bush. As we are going to have the Polymorph, and he just gets pushed away, but Owner essentially just hovering around the bottom side, knowing that easily the Trundle could try to come in for a gank with the way this bottom lane is going.
Great move there from Owner, protecting his bot lane, who we're potentially pretty vulnerable, and playing the Xin Zhao into Trundle. We talked about how it's a bit of a tough matchup, but getting the jump on him, ensuring you immediately have the advantage in the trade, allows him to force Lucid away and prevent any dives from coming through.
Yeah, Owner 6-0 on Xin Zhao. Definitely one of the big picks, especially nowadays for Owner, that we always mention whenever he is playing it. So it's very nice to see them kind of pick that very early on for him, especially with the Jarvan bans and all that. Seemed like they were kind of prepping for this. As the Gully Wall comes down, Xiu's taking a beating up in here, up in the top lane.
Yeah, Darn doing really well so far. That being said, he has gotten a recall off and TP back in, so Xiu's health being low is kind of temporary. He can get a recall by TP back, and any damage inflicted on Darn is a bit more long-standing, but did allow Darn to get a plate there. A little bit of gold coming in.
Yeah, I just feel like the pressure is there. Mid lane's kind of been just going even. I think Showmaker has done a good job of not really getting harassed out of this lane. On the Sylas, goes back, picks up a refillable. Faker gonna get the Catalyst early on, so don't expect much killing to happen there in the mid lane at least.
It's crazy that Rumble was already so strong, and then they added a dot rune, a dot keystone. Yeah, so definitely something Xiu is enjoying.
Yeah, I think it's pretty interesting as well as kind of the meta of the drafting has changed over time. And a lot of our teams are trying to figure out, especially as Seraphine, and ways to deal with that, different kind of lanes that they can bring in, or just stealing away the pick as we did see here. But also now, some teams have been leaving up the Rumble and trying different things to deal with it. Although a lot of our teams have also just left it up and gone back to the old things that tried to deal with it to not much success. Here is Lucid looking for Keria, who is definitely going to have to flash. A lot of damage into Career and Smash by Pays, who trades back excellently here.
Yeah, Pays doing a good job of mitigating by just getting damage down while they're focused on Keria. Keria does have to flash, but unfortunately the route from Korea doesn't connect. Slow from the pillar was there to set it up. I do think with the flash, he still would have been okay to get away. Now, Showmaker stealing the Destiny and using it just as a way to TP back in, which I think T1 pretty happy that they don't have to deal with that threat. Faker yet to use his Destiny, but if he sees an angle to set that up, potentially can get a easy kill. There's still summoners available for everyone on DPLUS in terms of flashes though, so no easy targets as of yet.
Yeah, it does feel like there might be a window for Faker to get something going. Generally, we see the Sylas in mid just to steal the Destiny and try to follow when the TF does move, but if you use it just to get back to lane, it's like, well, not going to be able to hijack that for a while on just the level 6 ult.
I think that's something with this T1 composition, is that DPLUS, if they get on top of your backline, can be a massive problem with...
What is happening here?
He's spinning the Maiden.
The Maiden chase.
I mean, it does look with that skin like she is on fire. So, fitting, but... Oh, heavy trade coming in.
Yeah, Arrow's going to be picked up here. As Smash going to cleanse, but he's still slowed up. Has to flash away. Pays autoing Career, though. Tons of damage comes in. I feel like he could have gotten that kill if he just auto Smash.
Yeah.
Still a good trade here for T1's bottom lane.
Yeah, put that extra auto into Career. I think, I agree, it was a difference maker in that trade. And you're seeing the lack of barrier from Smash. Even though he has the cleanse, he's not the one who even eats the Ash ult and just can't really step up when Pays has all that sustained damage. Still positive for T1. They got a lot of pressure down. They've been a lot of summoners, but would have loved to get that kill there.
Lucid just starts the Drake, and I mean, it looked like Faker was pushing up and also Smash and Career had backed, but we also have a back out of the T1 bottom lane. I figured maybe Owner would go in there and actually try to contest, but he doesn't have his bottom lane at the moment, so I suppose kind of a pocket of time here found by Lucid.
Gotta respect the Trundle so much as well, especially when he's taking like a dragon and he can just heal off it on top of that when it does get taken down. But yeah, I feel like this composition for T1, what I was saying before, is DPLUS have a lot of threats to get on the backline, like the Sylas, the Rumble, and then things like the Encore passing through. But T1 have so much map control in terms of vision. With TF and Ashe, they can just easily find people on the map whenever they want. So I think finding creative angles for DPLUS is actually going to be really difficult. You know, Showmaker's playing on a flank. It's so easy for T1 just to find him. And I think it means that if T1 get a sizable lead, it's going to be very difficult to find your way back into the game.
Yeah, absolutely. And we've seen a lot of, you know, Rumble Vi, Rumble plus Engage support, stuff that can actually set up the equalizer in a good way, but they kind of have Rumble and Silas and Pillar, so it's not exactly the best comp for Rumble.
That's why I was thinking the Annie could work to set them up. Now, we do see a dive coming in here. TF committing as well.
We do have Lucid running down the lane, but it might be a little bit late as the damage already into Smash. First blood going to be found as the Encore's there, but too little too late. Doesn't really do anything. Doesn't even keep them under the tower as Showmaker here, but this is 4v5, or rather 4v3 in favor of T1. Showmaker going to go in with the Crescent Guard, and now Lucid trying to come over with a TP we do have from the side of Shiu. Doran doesn't have his TP, so DK is still trying to fight this one out. Pei's gonna avoid the stun as Faker finds Shiu, and he's like, oh, didn't know that the Rumble was here, and now might just burn down to the equalizer. Shield comes out, but he is dead, and now Smash on the follow-up. The Wild Growth is there, but T1 are way too deep, and they will be punished big time in the DPLUS Kia jungle.
The TP coming in is such a big difference maker for DPLUS to be able to clean up all those kills. T1 trying to get in and get out quickly, and this is the payoff of those summoners being burned earlier. Easy to set this up onto Smash, he just dies so quickly. Great, unfortunately, ults after tower aggro is dropped, but they're kept interested because we have a reset coming in from Shiwu. Showmaker wants to do this to buy time, and you can see the TP's already coming in when he's doing this. He disengages again with the Crescent Guard, and then T1 realize that the Rumble is coming up on the flank, and they are no longer in a comfortable position. Doran's TP on cooldown, he can't help. Faker, unfortunately, blast cones right into Shiwu. And as they get lower and lower, you can just kind of see Shiwu moving around, Smash even respawns, and there's just no way for them to get out of this.
Yeah, not the best feeling for the side of T1, but DPLUS Kia definitely did play that pretty well. We did have Doran getting some plates in top lane. Looks like there's only one plate left, actually, so definitely a good chunk there, at least in the trade, but yeah, certainly a good way for DPLUS Kia to get back in this game.
I feel like even though the gold, team gold, is pretty even, oh no.
Yeah, he's gonna throw out the Crescent Guard, but Rumble very good at getting into melee range, and now Showmaker comes in with the Destiny. Owner in a lot of trouble, flashes over to Faker, but dies anyway, as now Doran is gonna come down here to help out against Showmaker. And I think in this 2v1, they should be able to trade it back, and that they do.
And Lucid takes his time to move down towards bot again to try and put some pressure down here. Kerry and Pei's back away, so won't be threatened, but won't really be able to walk up comfortably to the tower. In fact, Kerry tries.
Yeah, he does try, and he is going to be forced to flash away because of that. This is like, yeah, I guess I will collect your flash.
It's so difficult as a mobile champion into Trundle. You know, if you're trapped against a wall and that pillar comes down, you're flashing. If they have the manpower to back it up, which they absolutely did. Sort of wave clear ult from Shiwu comes through, but there's still some minions left alive. We'll see a replay, and this was just Ona getting back on the map quickly, trying to get these grubs cleared, and getting caught out by the solo laners. But you see, as this is going on, there isn't the jungle support from the Trundle. The Ashe Arrow is such a long stun as well from that distance, and Lucid is beelining for bot instead, so able to trade back is T1.
There's no turret in the top lane. It's just gone. Doran took it down.
I mean, that's the thing, is that earlier team fight that went in favor of DPLUS, Doran got a lot of CS, got a lot of plates. In the meantime, he has a pretty sizable lead. The problem is that even though T1 has 1,000 gold lead, they have a TF. And because Showmaker has 3 kills, it looks like the lead between them isn't that big. But you got to think about the TF gets so much free gold. And if you're behind as a TF, that's going to feel more painful than any other champion, because you're supposed to be ahead of the curve with the extra gold generated from the passive. Yeah. So this game feels pretty even right now.
Yeah, it certainly does. I mean, DK got that first Drake as well. Looks like they were trying to set up for the second Drake, but it's Mountain Cloud, which means, you know, you're kind of going 50-50. Could be Chemtech or Ocean at this point in time. I feel like Ocean isn't so bad, and even Chemtech for the Seraphine, but it does look like regardless, they are not going to flip over getting the second Drake here. They're just going to give it over to T1. And we'll have to wait and see what soul we do get. Faker says, I'm going to protect this turret. Siu says, well, I'm going to try to do a bunch of damage to you. Lucid is going to come in here and try to tank up this turret. As the Ash Arrow is already coming in, it is going to miss though, and Faker, super squishy still, is going to be taken out, as it is a Chemtech soul.
Yeah, damage is there from DPLUS. The Ash Arrow this time doesn't save the play. And just not much you can do against Trundle, Rumble. Both of them bulky enough that they can tank a good few tower hits. And the pillar setup is just so difficult when you don't have that flash available. Honestly, I think maybe Faker could have Destinied out if he was like instantly ready to go. Because obviously once the pillar comes down, they don't have any more CC, but the timing might... The damage was pretty heavy, so it might have been a bit tough. And obviously if you're wrong, if you miscalculate, you just lose Destiny for nothing.
Yeah. Maybe he wants to hold on to that, but with the Drake being taken, there's not really, you know, like a good play they can set up with this Destiny, so it does feel like if he had the opportunity, probably should have done it. As Silas going to unleash a Maiden down in the bottom lane, and Faker's going to take that one out. And now Faker's going head-to-head with Siu. We did talk about how the TF could have been top lane. Certainly was one of the options T1 could have gone for, but instead went for the last pick, Yorick. And it does look like T1's just going to go ahead and try to take the Rift Herald down. We do have TP available for Siu.
I think T1 are doing a good job of controlling areas, getting set up with their composition. That's exactly what they want to do. DPLUS trying to challenge here.
It's too late. I mean, they come in here and they see it's already at like 1,000 health. So they're like, oh, okay, I guess you just get the Rift Herald.
Yeah, just gotta supervise them doing it. But I think T1's composition, you know, you get control of the area, you have vision tools to play with, you have a lot of control, a lot of CC that you can kind of keep them at a distance with. They did that for that second dragon. They did that for that Herald to great effect. Now
the arrow.
Arrow. Oh!
Showmaker on the ball here.
Yeah, does have the Merc treads, so maybe could have lived even if it did hit, but would not be a fun time.
Doran trying to back on a ward here. He's going to find himself face-to-face with a pillar. He's trying to get back to his ghoulie wall. Has a TP from his teammate Faker coming on up. Bit of damage is done to Showmaker here as now the Destiny follow-up is going to come in from Faker after the TP. And they're just chasing them all the way down the lane. Lucid, nowhere to go, gets flashed on. Has to flash away, but the slow comes in. And the flash gold card is there. It's 2 kills for T1 in the top lane.
DPLUS go for the aggressive play, but just don't really have the damage to cut through Doran at this point. He is pretty bulky, and T1 make them pay for it. They do lose out on the bot side of the map. She will getting some free push in there. But T1 getting some damage on this tier 2 tower, getting a bunch of kills. Definitely a worthy payout. And the Rumble had TP here, so they opted not to bring the Rumble in. You can see they just don't have the damage to cut through Doran that quickly. He doesn't even have to, he still has his flash available if he really wanted to disengage. And then the TP from the TF, they run away, but Destiny allows to follow up. And I think DPLUS were thinking, we can just lose one and get out of here. I don't think Lucid expected to die. Pillar doesn't get a huge amount of value there. Because I think if they were expecting it to be a committed play that they had to fight, maybe they would have brought the Rumble in, turned it into a 3v3. But instead, they just try and run, try and say, okay, we'll sacrifice one, Shiwu gets free push. But Lucid dying as well definitely hurts the play.
Yeah, I guess they just didn't expect Owner to run all the way up there from the river where they didn't really have any vision. And it kind of caught them off guard. As Showmaker says, I see where everybody is. It's not really too much value taken out of that, but he just wanted to use it. Get it off cooldown, I suppose. Yeah, you have this Drake coming up in 40 seconds.
Going to the Drake fight, I think, wants to get a bit of a higher value team fight ultimate. So DPLUS pushed in.
Shu gonna face check Doran here. That goalie wall a little bit short. The equalizer as well, not gonna last very long. And Shu's just being out traded here as the main and the goal smacks him in the back and takes him down. Doran here as well. The crescent guard saves his life, and Doran picks up the double kill. He's 4-0 right now. As a TP comes in, Showmaker gets hit by an arrow, and it's just disaster after disaster for DK. As T1, they call the bluff, and they win the fight in a big way.
DPLUS just getting crushed on these topside plays. Doran is so strong right now on this Yorick. Just Shibu cannot handle him, and as soon as they start to try and bring in members to counteract the play, it's T1 who bring in a lot more strength and are able to clean this one up. We see here Shibu just kind of face checks him, ends up getting completely chunked out, and isn't able to disengage quick enough. Tries to turn the trade around, is like, I'll set up for Lucid. Dies to the Ghoul, unfortunately. And then this peel from Ona was just great. The ult to get him away from his top laner. Doran goes in, gets the heal. 373 health there he got from the shovel. And then that Ashe ult that comes through. And then the Ludu Zinzao combo, just to keep Showmaker from getting away. This was a great play from T1, and they're able to get back on the map with Dragon still alive.
Yeah.
Now with a 4,200 gold lead, I think DPLUS are going to struggle. You know, this composition from T1, if it gets ahead, is so suffocating.
Yeah. They don't really have, again, we talked about it, they don't really have a very reliable way to engage. It's just like, we're going to throw down a pillar and try to run with a vision disadvantage into all of this pick from T1. It just doesn't feel good.
I think once Faker gets rapid fire cannon, it's going to be so hard to play the game. The 1-3-1 is going to be such a massive issue. Not even necessarily the 1-3-1, the 4-1. Having Doran in a side lane, it just is so hard to deal with. He's almost 2 levels up on Shu. He's about to hit level 16. I guess Shu is about to hit level 15, but 4-0 on this Yorick is a fearsome opponent for DPLUS.
They keep trying to kill this Yorick. He's just going to TP away as, nope, going to get hit by the pillar. And I think this time with 3 people up here, it might be enough. I'm still not even sure, even though he's dead. That is the kill that does go over to Lucid. While we kind of have Showmaker coming over here, going to steal the Ashe Arrow.
DPLUS trying to find angles to connect onto the members of T1 pushing these lanes. Managed to find Doran there with no flash, and the TP not able to come through. He goes down. It's a good chunk of gold. But it doesn't really slow down the rest of T1's players, who just still get a lot of value. In the meantime, pushing waves in. We saw Pays get some plates. I think Doran unfortunately didn't have full information on how close Lucid was. Uses the Mega Cone into the pillar. I guess the Encore was there as well. But just gets melted.
Yeah, melted for sure is one way to put it. It's kind of interesting. We oftentimes see in a lot of our LCK games, especially, you know, big leads being taken over objective fights, or, you know, we get like a Rift Herald fight highlight or a third Dragon highlight. But T1 really just got a massive lead by 2 kind of random fights in the top lane, where, you know, some face checking happens, some attempted ganks happens, but
I mean, normally it's Faker.
It's too strong.
Normally it's Faker in the side lane, but this concept of we have someone pushing in the side lane, you try and punish them and we get loads of value for it. I feel like that's been the T1 special for such a long time. Do you see Showmaker firing off the Ashe Arrow? Doesn't connect. And yeah, now they're sending Showmaker up against Doran, but he's
2 Baron.
He's 3 levels down, by the way.
Yeah. And he currently doesn't have an ult as well.
Now he's 2 levels down. But they just started the Baron. Lucid does have flash, so can get into the pit if he wants to.
I mean, they're just going to turn onto him, and immediately Lucid is in a very precarious spot. Does get that subjugate down, but now Career gets hit by the arrow, and he is dead. There's the Wild Growth on a 3. As Owner knows he's got the backup from Keria. And that's just 2 free kills. T1 with their T1 Baron plays. They don't need to actually take the Baron. They just get another big gold lead off of that play.
The turn was so good from T1. They have the setup, they have the CC, they chase down members of DPLUS, and Ona just feels invincible with the Lulu backing him up. Faker's going to move in to cover this bot lane from Showmaker. And now Lucid has no flash. I think the chance of getting a steal here is very slim. He's going to try and go through this top lane with the structure of the Baron pit. He has an angle in, but they're not going to let him get close.
Yeah, all they have to do is put security guard Yorick up there on the top side of the Baron, and Lucid just kind of has to be sad about it.
So Baron picked up for T1, another team fight win, almost a 6,000 gold lead. This game feeling firmly in their control. We'll see the replay. The turn is just so instant. As soon as they see Lucid walking up, they connect onto him. The Ashe ult is flashed away from, but it hits Career instead. And we don't even see that much value from the Encore because he dies. So they don't even have to sit through that on the Equalizer. Don't manage to dive the tower there. You can see they were thinking about it. Another Ashe arrow onto Career.
This time the Pillar's actually going to get a lot of value. Career coming in here trying to do something, but yeah. You mentioned, you know, TF Ashe. They know exactly where they are. They have so much vision in the jungle as well, just with the warding on top of that. As now Lucid's like, surely I can take out this ward, and I'm not so sure about that. Is the stolen Ashe arrow going to delay them? But Lucid gets caught up in the wall, and even with the subjugate, just kind of falls over.
You take a step too far in your own jungle, and you're just dead. You just get jumped on, Faker turns up, feels like the whole squad's there, and Lucid goes down. Now Doran looking.
Doran is going crazy right now. He's got the backup with the Wild Growth, takes a huge amount of damage from the Rumble, and he stays alive for so long. And he doesn't care that he's dead. The rest of the team is following up. Nice help from Career, but it's too little, and it's way too late, as T1 are just kind of styling on them in their own base.
T1 definitely could have slow played this, but they opted to just burst down the enemy AD carry in this situation and to play the game a lot faster paced. DPLUS now only have the support alive. Lucid's going to respawn, but I'm not sure there's much he can do.
Yeah, it's just a Trundle without an ult, without a flash. I mean, they don't even have to kill him. They could just hit the Nexus, but they are going to do a bit more damage, pump those numbers up just a little bit, but it is a clean and dominant game one here from T1.